I gotta wait. How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
Welcome to the share, where Miss Dreme always has a story.
I'm Dreme, a black woman with many beautiful interconnecting identities. A few I will name at this moment as we get started on this podcast journey together. A Bostonian, born and raised in the inner city, Dorchester and Roxbury neighborhoods, to a teenage single mother who has my whole heart. An educator, I've been working with youth and children since my teenage years, and formally, I have been teaching almost a decade now. That's wild to think about. An entrepreneur, I am the founder of The Chair, a black and brown centered tech platform dedicated to supporting people on their hair journey, where you can design hairboards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a more joyous experience. I have a workable site, my prototype. It took me 2 years to build, and now I'm on this adventure that you're currently on with me. My goal for this podcast is to share stories, black stories, educator stories, entrepreneurship stories, and hair stories. I want you to leave each episode with the opportunity to gain new insight, just a glimpse into my world or the worlds that are featured on my podcasts, a little chuckle during your day or night, possibly a little anger to encourage you to advocate for justice, and hope to continue learning and dreaming. So come in and listen to the beautiful voices in the chair as they share their stories, starting with me.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Ariah. Ariah, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, people. My name is Ariah, as she just said. Ariah Dawson, full government. Yes, I am a Korean American who was born in Boston, and I am a private chef and an independent music producer and artist.
Ariah and I met years ago because he's besties with a cousin of mine, but we started getting close during COVID 2020 time because he lives with us. It was pretty amazing living with a chef and music producer. I got to see how an artist works in the middle of the night. He cooked all the time because he loved to cook.
I did. I think I cooked like every day.
Mm-hmm. So when I asked him to be on the podcast, I was really excited for him to come to be able to share all of the stories. So did you always know you wanted to be a chef?
I don't think I always knew. What I did know was that I love to eat food, as most people do, but really good food. So there's a difference. And I think I got spoiled from my father. He used to always tell me that when we go out to eat at a restaurant, the restaurant must always have like white linen laced tables, or else we're not going to go in there. So he was just like very adamant about this whole, it must have the perfectly creased white linen on the table. And I don't know if you've ever been to really fancy restaurants where they have, even when they serve you like the bread portion, they have somebody come by with a little crumbing tool, and they sort of just clean the table with all the crumbs of the bread, and like while you're eating bread, like every time they just gotta like make sure everything's perfect and clean. But I think he just spoiled me with a lot of fancy restaurants, spending money that we did not have. He just took me, and just like a kid, I guess I should have just been eating French fries and chicken tenders and apple slices or something. I don't know. But he decided to, like I said, spoil me. And I think that's what got me interested in just, wow, this food is so different and tastes really good. Like, why? Why does it taste good? Why is it considered fancy? And I guess it just sparked my interest, and I kind of was like, yeah, let me learn how to cook some of this stuff, or how to do it. And I think what started it was my grandmother was a chef, and she was also a baker, and she owned her own bakery before I was born. And she also went to culinary school. I guess I had just told her, hey, like, I'm into cooking. I kind of want to learn. And she was like, all right, I can teach you some basics and things of, really easy things to make just to get you started. And yeah, I just started making like really simple, just learning how to do basic stuff from her. And then it kind of just grew. After that, she gave me some of her tools and, a few lessons here and there about stuff. And after that, I just kind of took it on my own and just kind of went with it. And slowly over the years, through like middle school and high school, I would just cook at home and just try out different recipes and stuff like that. I even went as far as to invite like my whole high school class over to my house because I was like, I'm going to cook for everyone. And everybody was like, you can't cook. What are you talking about? Like you had to cook for all of us? Like nobody does that. Like, especially back when I was in high school and middle school, like, people weren't, no kids were like cooking, doing all that stuff. And, like, it was always like the aunties and the grandmas, the older people. So yeah, I invited everybody over, and I think I cooked like 10 different dishes or something. I was like a whole potluck. It was like a barbecue. It was like It's like a cookout. Yeah. Just me. I cooked everything. I cooked like ribs. I cooked like fried chicken with honey glazed fried chicken. Like I was cooking a bunch of soul food because all my classmates were either all black or there was mainly black, Spanish, all minorities. I didn't really have any white classmates. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try making the food that we like and we're used to, and I'll try my own version of it. Yeah, everybody came over and they were super surprised. They were like, wow, like we're getting all this free food and like, Ariah's cooking food. Like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then I guess it became like a thing. I started trying to invite the class over, like, oh yeah, I'm cooking again. Oh yeah, I'll go to Ariah's. And then I just started doing like little food contests online. Make a recipe, you could win like a prize or whatever. And then started looking into going to Johnson & Wales or a culinary school for college instead of an academic one. Which, culinary school still has academics, but it's not the main focus.
So when you were at Johnson & Wales, you majored in food science, yes?
Yeah. So food science, restaurant, and hotel management. And I think those are the two main, that was like my two main things. Food science and management.
Did you end up, after graduating from Johnson & Wales, did you end up working in the restaurants with the linen and the fancy utensils? Did you ever do that?
Yeah, well, my first job was actually as a dishwasher. It was like a rite of passage as a chef. When you're like starting out in the kitchen, like you got to start out from the bottom and learn every station. Like it's kind of one of those things where you learn everything over, however long you happen to be working there. But everybody starts in the dish pit. And back then, I had to hand wash all these dishes for all these people.
No whole bar.
And I didn't have a huge machine to just do it all. I had a 3-bay sink. You have your water first to kind of like clean off everything. Then you got your soap and water and detergent. And then you have like your finishing, rinse everything off. But it was really annoying and hard work. There's a lot of dishes, and I had to constantly refill the sinks because it get filled with food and dirt and other things. So once I kind of mastered the dishes, the washing of the dishes, that was like maybe like 4 or 5 months I did that. Then they move you to a different station, which usually you go to like a salad station or some sort of really like short order station, something that's just kind of quick and easy. But it's still very difficult, even though it's the easier of them. A salad station can still be very difficult. Start out doing that, and then you move on to like saute. Now you're like cooking with heat. You got pans, and you got multiple pans cooking at the same time. And then after you learn all of that, you can either like go to like the grill or whatever other stations they may have. Some places have like a raw bar, and you got to learn how to like shuck oysters and deal with seafood.
What was your favorite station?
I think before I started doing sushi and I was just cooking in kitchens, my favorite station, I believe, was saute. And I just liked just the speed of it, the action, the heat, and the fact that it was challenging, mainly because it really has to do with your time management.
I remember when you were cooking, I don't like to cook. I don't find any joy in it. I
think I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it's not.
I just like to eat.
Yeah, I like to eat. I will do the dishes for you.
Yeah.
I will cut up anything you need.
Yeah,
But-
I remember you like asked.
Yeah.
I can cut the onion up or something.
Yeah, I'll do anything for you. And so I would sit in the kitchen as Ariah was cooking everything, and we would just talk. I remember just watching you when you were building the spring rolls for my mom and how you would go to all these specific stores and get all these very specific ingredients and these greens, and you would talk about every detail, and everything had a step and everything.
Yeah.
It was just so much care and love in how you created each meal.
Oh, it makes a big difference than just throwing stuff together. Every step is important. The seasoning and tasting of everything is very important while you're cooking and while you're putting things together, because you need to know yourself whether it tastes good or not.
And you've been a chef over 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah, long time, like 15 plus years.
15 plus years.
Yeah, because I started, like I said, as a dishwasher in the kitchen. I think I was like 14 or 15 at that time. Then, yeah, at that age, I was doing the other stuff too. I think the most embarrassing story in my early chef days was I was cooking a dish or a few dishes for a table, and I remember just being so hungry. Maybe I didn't take a break, or I don't know. I didn't come in fully ready to go and fed and energized and stuff like that. I was with my chef at the time, which not a lot of head chefs are female. Especially back when I was in high school. It was a lot of male-dominated career. But now there's like plenty of really awesome female chefs making really delicious food and really good. But I was glad that I got to work under a female chef in the beginning, because they're very different in how they do things.
How so?
I think just emotional IQ, knowing how to talk to people in different ways, whereas most male chefs are just screaming, yelling, dominant. They don't really care. Working under the female head chef, they were still very dominant too, and very like firm, but they were just softer. If you made a mistake, they'd be like, "Hey, don't do that again, but let's do it like this," instead of "Go home. We don't need you anymore." Stuff like that. There's two different ways of speaking to people, which both ways can work. Some people need to be sent home and come back the next day. So that they're like, all right, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah, like,
I got to go home and think about it.
Yeah, it sounds like a
my-
Hell's Kitchen type of moment where.
Yeah. No, a lot of times, like, if you're not ready in the kitchen and you're not doing your thing, you just get sent home. And it's not like you get fired. It's just, hey, you just didn't come prepared today. You're not focused. Go home. We can do this. Come back tomorrow refreshed. Yeah. To continue my story, I was working with her, and she was just kind of letting me take the reins and do the saute station. And I remember I was like doing everything perfect and right, and I just know I was so hungry. And I just remember like I was plating the dishes, and I'm like looking at one of the dishes, and she's like saying, "Oh, good job, like it looks good." And I'm just like looking at it, I'm like, "Oh, this looks so good." And I just remember that I think I was just like looking at it, like I wanted to eat it. And I just remember I just started drool, like some drool came out of my mouth onto their food.
Oh no! Oh.
And my chef was like, "That didn't just happen, did it?" And I was like, "I'm hungry." This look, she was like, remake that. You know, she gets mad. She's like, you just drooled all over the freaking customer's food. What's wrong with you? Like, eat something. You're gonna eat that now. It's just like, oh, I'm so sorry. It was so embarrassing though, because literally drooling on somebody's food. It's like a freaking from a show or something, like a series, a comedy series or something.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Look, it's my commercial. We will be right back.
It's more than just a bad hair day. It's a journey. Finding the right hairstyle isn't easy, nor is finding the right stylist or the right products. Looking in every corner of the web gets messy, overwhelming, and exhausting. All the ads, the articles, the products, the videos, it shouldn't be this hard, but it is. And now, it isn't. The Chair. A black and brown centered platform where you can design hairboards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a new joyful path on your hair journey. Avoid the clutter, save yourself hours, months, and even years of research and poor trial and error. Everything you need and only what you need is in one place. Hairboards made by people like you, for you. Find the right products, the right people, the right answers for you, stress-free. Join the Chair community and make every day a great hair day. When you share your pain, you allow others to help you. And when you share your success, you help others get theirs. Lean on the Chair. We got you. No stress, no strife. In the chair. The chair. The chair.
All right. There's been other things that I've been embarrassed about in the kitchen and made mistakes. But that's the whole point. You got to make all your mistakes, learn from them. And the biggest lesson that I've learned from being a chef in the kitchen is to not dwell on mistakes and don't let it dictate what happens after. Because a lot of people make mistakes in the kitchen specifically and crumble immediately after one mistake. And they just can't focus, and they're just messing up everything now. Because they just keep thinking about the mistake that they made and getting yelled at, rather than just, all right, don't do that again. Let's go. Forget about it. Let's go. Just don't do it again. So I learned how to like get over messing up and to just keep it going and don't do it again. And don't think about it, don't dwell, and just forget about it and go, so that you can just kill the rest of the night, you know? Whereas a lot of people who aren't used to being in the kitchens, they just get all depressed and sad or angry at themselves, and it ruins everything. You know, that happens a lot. You know, a high-pressure kitchen, working in kitchens is very intense, high pressure, and you've got tons of people talking to you, asking you questions. You know, like I said, you got to do time management, so you're constantly got something in the oven. You got multiple things in the oven while you got 8 saute pans all going, cooking 8 different things that all are at different temperatures and all require, takes 5 minutes, this takes 8 minutes, this takes 7, this takes 4, this takes 3. And I got to be able to remember everything. And then I got to be able to plate everything up and make it look pretty and make sure it's not cold by the time it gets out.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of timing.
Yeah, so failure isn't, you can't hold on to it too long.
No, if you mess up, you just, let's go, remake it as fast as you can and don't do it again. Don't dwell on it. But a lot of people dwell on their mistakes in the kitchen.
So you have this intense passion. You've been cooking for over 15 years. How did becoming a music producer show up in this world of yours?
So the music was always there, just sort of on the side. It was sort of like a hobby at first. But the music came into my life when I was a kid, and I actually lived in Chicago for a year. and my dad moved out there because he was just in love with it's just a girl that he met, and he was like, we're moving. And I was like, why? Like, I love this girl. I'm like, all right. He just moved from Boston to Chicago just out of nowhere. Before that, I was listening to, like, you know, because we had tape cassette players, and I sound mad old and stuff. You know, but at least I didn't say, like, vinyls and record players. But tape cassettes, I think the first music I was listening to was, like, the Beatles, a band called Chicago. It's famous. A brass band, specifically, I think. And I was listening to that all the time. And the Beatles are just really great artists, really great band, worldwide. Really great songs that stand the test of time, creative. That's what I was really into at first. But when I moved to Chicago, I found like a big basket of CDs in the living room where we were living at the time. And I think it was my dad's girlfriend's basket of CDs. But it had a bunch of rappers in it. It was like Tupac and Biggie, and I think there was like Method Man and Redman albums in there. There was specifically a mixtape album by Funk Flex that he made a while back that also featured literally everyone in hip-hop at that time. And I remember playing that CD, and once I played that, my whole world changed. I was like, listening to Tupac and Biggie and Method Man and Redman and Big L and Cameron and all these different New York artists and West Coast artists. And I was just like, wow, this sound is just so cool and different. So many swears. You know, I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is dope. And I love the beats because it was just so different from Chicago and the Beatles.
The Beatles, yeah.
You know, because their production is very different. There's guitars and singing and light tunes and abstract sounds, or Chicago was all brass and typical rock music. And then you have all these crazy synths and drums and all these things in hip-hop and samples and chops and all these other things that I never really listened to. And I think I just fell in love with it. I think the one song that I fell in love with in the beginning, and I played all the time when I was a kid, I think it's a song called The Rockweiler, and it was like a Method Man, Redman.
Yes, it
You know that
is.
song,
Yes,
right?
it is. Mommy loved that album.
Yeah.
She played it.
So I played
over
that
and over
album
and over.
specifically over and over again, and I just remember playing that song all the time in my room. It was like, yo, microphone checker. And I was like, you know, the beat was crazy, and I just loved it. This is different. I'm just some little Asian kid with glasses, bowl cut, just like, yo, what's good? You know, trying to be cool. That's what got me into hip hop. Then I just was listening to it, didn't really think about music like that. I think until like high school, middle school and high school, end of middle school, beginning of high school was when I started to try to like rap on my own. And that's kind of when my dad put me in the public school system in Boston. Before that, I was like used to private schools where there were just a lot of predominantly white, Jewish kids, very few minorities, if any. I'd probably be the only one most of the time. Not even a lot of other Asians or anything. Just mainly white schools, which goes into just, I think, the way that I view the world and the way that I was able to keep an open mind growing up, or learn how to keep an open mind. Because like I went from kindergarten going to a special needs school with a bunch of kids in wheelchairs and disorders or
different disabilities. And learning
like
differences.
being friends with all these people, but not even thinking anything of it. Just being like, that's my boy Shane, but he doesn't even know how to talk, and he eats through a tube and a hole through his stomach. But I just never really thought anything different. I was just like, everybody's cool. I like everybody. And then going from that to all white, rich, Jewish kids, completely spoiled, completely just in their own world, privilege, tons of privilege, and seeing how that was. And I was like, wow, that's different. It's funny, they would even be like, I remember throwing like a birthday party at my house, and they all came over, and they were like, I wish I just had one TV. Saying stuff like that.
Jeez.
I was like, what? They're like, yeah, you know, like, because you got one, so you just watch one and not have to worry. It's like, there's not a bunch of, you know, stuff. Oh, my God, you got, like, one computer, and, like, you only got like one of these. And they were just saying all these things, which now when I think about it now, I'm like, that's kind of, why are y'all saying that? That's kind of messed up. I was like, I guess they thought it was cool that I was poor. I don't know. Maybe because I was poor, they were like, oh yeah, yo, right, it's cool. You only got one TV. Like, all right, yeah. Like, and then going from that to going back to Boston into the public school system, it was all black kids and Spanish kids and Asian kids and Indian and everybody. And there wasn't really any white kids anymore. So I was like completely just shocked. And then just kind of like bonding with Asians. I never really stuck with one group of people. You know, I kind of was the kid that was everybody's token Asian. It was just kind of like in every group. Spanish group, chilling with the black kids, chilling with the other Asian kids, chilling with just everybody. You know, I didn't really feel like I needed to be with just one group or something. I just thought everybody was cool. That was like the culture shock.
Oh, and if you're interested to learn more about my experiences as a black woman and educator in Guangzhou, China, I wrote my first ebook titled Nowhere and Everywhere, Captured Emotions of a Beautifully Broken Love Story. It is on lulu.com. Take a read and see some beautiful photography of mine. Enjoy the rest of the show.
In middle school, like I said, that's when I started kind of rapping, getting into rap. I didn't get into beats until probably college. And I was inspired by my friend Saquon, who was like a musical genius, I thought. And I still believe he was. He taught me a lot about music and taught me a lot of different ways to look at music that I never thought before. And an example was he told me how music is also a story, and not just the lyrics, but the actual instrumentation is a story. In each part of the beat, it's like a different chapter, the beginning and then the chapters and then the end. And he was like, the beginning is like real chill and like opening. Then you start getting deeper, and then the verse is like this. Then you get to like the climax, which is like the chorus part. And then it like chills out and goes to this bridge part. And it does this. So he like broke it down in a different way that I never really, I was just thinking these are just beats. You know, but I never thought about it in that way where it's like you're really telling a story musically.
I remember when I asked you, it was one night, it was 2020, so I'm starting business school, so I'm frustrated and flustered and angry, so I'm up middle of the night. So I'm walking the halls, and Ariah is up at 2, 3 in the morning with his keyboard on his lap, playing big headphones, just doing all this music stuff. And so he's like, what is going on? Yeah. He's like, what is going on with you? I'm like, I'm frustrated about this homework and this exam.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Right? And so I'm just like pacing. And so I'm talking to him, and I'm like, how is cooking the same as beat making? And you said to me, and I think about it all the time, you said, when you cook, you have all these different ingredients. He was like, beats are ingredients, and you're just trying to layer them together to make this beautiful meal and this beautiful sound. And when you said that, I was like, I can see the connection.
Yeah. It was basically each instrument or drum sound, or those are all ingredients, and really just finding the right ones that blend well, that, you know, that taste good together, that sound good together. But yeah, I remember telling you, I kind of took my experiences as being a chef and dealing with ingredients for food, putting them together, experimenting what tastes good, what doesn't, and applying that same method into music. Like you were saying, each instrument is an ingredient, and then the song or the final product to be like the dish, the final dish or something. And just doing it, experimenting that way. I thought that it was cool to be able to transfer skills from another career and still be able to apply it to something else, but it's completely different, but it's kind of similar in a way that you approach it.
The thing about my time at business school and living with you and Dana, two artists who were up in the middle of the night, just creating.
Yeah.
And I would
Most artists are like that.
Yeah.
Night owls.
Night, just like in the middle of the night, and I'm walking the halls because I just can't sleep.
Yeah.
And we would sit there and talk about art and music and the creation of it and how, and you know, I sat there and watched you just pull things and just create things, and you're like, here, do you hear this? Do you hear this?
Yeah.
And there's a passion there that I think is just pretty magical, how it would come up when we were in the kitchen and you'd be like, do you taste this? Do you taste this? That same world, it was still there. What advice would you give to someone who has multiple passions in different directions to pursue all of it?
It's very difficult. It's not easy.
Mm.
I would say for me, I'm the type of person who's very, I'm very like ADHD on top of just, I try to stay focused, but sometimes it's, even with me being, having that level of ADHD and not having that focus that I should have, I still am able to find it and figure it out through all of that chaos for some reason. I don't know how I did it, but I feel like if you really love something, it just never will ever go away. No matter if you even take a break or you're not thinking about it, it's still like within you or part of you. Like I've taken breaks from both things, but I've constantly always tried to keep them a part of my life somehow. And I think it's really just making a lot of sacrifices that the average person wouldn't do or wouldn't be able to. And when I mean sacrifices, playing video games or going out with your friends all the time or partying or, all the typical things that we do when we're young to distract us, and that's fun. But I think it's very important when you're young to like really hone in on things, because that's when you absorb the most. When we're young, when we're kids, we just absorb everything like a sponge if you're focused. But even if you're not, I feel like kids just learn things faster than adults when you're older.
For the adults who are...
I'd say for like adults and getting older, you gotta like still make the sacrifices. Just really sit down and almost, I know it's not always good to force yourself to do stuff, but just sit down, and if you really love it, you're gonna always want to do it. I feel like that's one of the main things, is if you love something, you're always gonna want to practice it, or at least listen to something once a day. I think doing whatever it is that you want to do, if you at least do it or practice it or think about it or are just involving yourself within whatever it is every day, I think that's the key with so I guess consistency is key. Even if it's for like an hour a day, it doesn't have to be like your whole day where you just every day, all day, I'm just doing this all the time. It's like, no, you shouldn't do that, because that's also unhealthy and can cause you to get frustrated. And maybe when you're trying to force ideas as an artist, it's not always the best artwork or the best product. But I think practicing it every day on your own, at least making some sort of schedule just in your mind, hey, when I wake up, I'm going to try to make something or try to do something. Besides that, I think one of the key things is having the group of people around you that also are artists, that are also on the same journey as you. I think you really need to have that. Doing it on your own is fine, but it's going to take you a lot longer, I think. And yeah, you might be able to do it, but it's going to take you 2 to 3, 5 times, 10 times longer than actually collaborating with people who are also on the same dream. And it's going to be more fulfilling. And I think once I like found a strong group of people who also are artists, they also help motivate you. And when you're not feeling like you are an artist or good at anything, they're there to lift you up and inspire you and remind you and be like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, you sound dumb right now. Like, you just made something crazy yesterday. What are you talking about? You sound crazy. Like, you really need those people, that circle, that group of people that also love it just as much. Because not only are they going to be doing that for you, but you're going to do that for them when they're down. And they're coming to you like, I don't know if this is me anymore. I don't know if I can do it. And you're like, be like, what are you talking about? We just made this thing last week. And when I shared it with these people, it like changed their lives. Like, what do you mean? Like, you don't feel it anymore? You just changed these people's lives last week. Like, we got to keep going. And I think doing that, it like helps you stay in that pocket and stay just not get flustered or angry anymore.
Thank you, Ariah, so much for sitting in the chair and sharing your stories. I truly, truly appreciate you taking the time.
You're welcome. Dreme. Chair.
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dreme always has a story.
Thank you for listening to an episode of The Chair. I, of course, would love your continued support. Let me know what you think of this episode by doing all the things. Subscribe, comment, and come back next week, every week. Enjoy the rest of your beautiful day. Or if you are like me, enjoy that moonlight and that one star under all your city lights. Love you. Talk to you later.
The chair.
How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
We support her. Shit.
Do your...
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dreme always has a story. Where we share